Greetings, everybody. This is Cheryl, and this is all things Cheryl. I'm moving a little late. I've just come back from Washington, D.C. at a rally, and I had to look at the episode. And we're going to get right into it, but I'm not going to go blow by blow. I'm just going to be hitting some points, and you guys can basically check me out. I am going to look at it on a different level. First of all, I like to say congratulations to Queen Sugar. They have just been picked up for another episode, another season, for season 3. So we will get an opportunity to see exactly how the borderlines are going to be able to handle what has just been told to them by Ralph Angel. Um, we realized that Ralph Angel decided that he was going to basically tell them the truth after he realized that Blue was having some issues with the fact that Kenya was no longer a part of his life. So in order to make an amendment and in order to deal with reality and telling the truth, Ralph Angel realizes that he needed to set a standard for Blue when it comes to honoring thyself. And by him taking that stand, he basically told his two sisters that they are not the owner, and he is the owner. And of course, we know that his two sisters, Nova and Charlie, did not take it well. But before we dove a little bit into Charlie and their emotional feeling, the title is I Know My Soul. So I Know My Soul is basically dealing with the realness as to who you are, who you really are as a person and as a contribute to society. We realize that when Ralph Angel tells his sister that they are not the true inheritors of the land that he is, we see the animosity that they had towards Ralph Angel. And to a point so much that we saw the anger coming out of Nova. Now, I basically knew that Nova had this other side. We see this other side to be so calming and so spiritual. But then my soul knows it's telling the opposite. And so Nova gets very nasty. She screams as if, I don't believe you, asshole. Go and get this letter. Now, I'm going to tap on a little bit of the generation. Blue and Maka was outside because Aunt Vi and Hollywood and Darlin, they were outside because Aunt Vi had asked them to step outside while they handle family business. And so we see Blue Maka stepping outside. Now, remember when when everybody was at the table and they found and Ralph finally let them know what's going on. Blue heard his auntie call his father a liar. Charlie said to him, to Ralph Angel, so you've been lying to me all this while. Now, remember, Blue basically had asked his father why did this lady call him a liar. And then we turn around and Blue hears his auntie call his father a liar. Now, remember when Ralph Angel was coming back, and I believe, I think Dollar had Blue and said that she had a hard time in getting him down, and I think Ralph Angel says to Dollar, I believe it was Dollar, I'm not quite sure, but she asks, he asks Dollar, well, do you think he knows what's going on? And Ralph Angel said, I'm not quite sure, but he knows that it's something is not right. Now, in the meantime, while we're dealing with them trying to get the baby settled, Michael is becoming to be an adult. He's becoming to be coming into itself. But in the meantime, we're going to switch off and I'm going to be talking about Ernest. And basically, for what I can understand, is that when Ernest was dealing with his children, we find out that he loved his kids, but at the same time, he was also messy with his kids. He was extremely messy with his two oldest kids due to the fact that they were the ones that were really into their life and they really didn't really have time for him. So we're going to go back a little bit when we're going to deal with Charlie. When Charlie would come basically to the house for the summer or to the farm for the summer, we find out that Ernest really didn't really feel give her an impression that she is a part of the family. The person who basically made Charlie feel like a part of the family was Ernest's sister, Aunt Vi. So Aunt Vi will always make it a point that when Charlie would come to basically be a part of the family, she would make it sure that she had a place to basically lay her head. And we see that when there was some issue that was going on with Aunt V, we find out because they send little subliminal messages, and they stated that at the time, now we're going to get into Aunt Vi, but at the time when Aunt Vi was married to her abusive husband, Ernest was basically in California. He was in California dealing with Charlie's mother. Now we know that we don't know exactly what color. Everybody's thinking that she's going to be white. If she's not going to be white, she's going to be damn near close to it. And I said this last week. And so we find out that Ernest came back to the farm because basically he had left the farm. It's because he was living in California. I don't know whether you guys caught that, but he was basically living in California when Aunt Vi's and their mother passed away. And we find out that Aunt Vi and Ernest was having some issues as far as talking to each other. And the reason why is that Ernest was not satisfied with the choice man that Vi had picked. Come to find out, she got married when she was 17. She had a child. They moved into the house. He was an abusive. And basically, Ernest found out about it. He came back. He came back from California, and it seems that he never went back to California. Yeah. We also find out that Aunt Vi had some secrets going on. And we find that Aunt Vi was also a part owner of the farm. How we find out is that Nova, once again, gets on her computer and she goes into the public records and she finds out that Aunt B was a part owner. And so she asks Aunt B a couple of questions about the farm. And so basically, what I said previously, we find out that in order for Aunt B to get away from this guy, that the abusive guy, I don't know the name of it, I wrote it in my records, that she basically had to buy him out, give this guy money in order for her to get out of this abusive relationship. And then we find out later on that she basically sold her part of the land to her brother. And she's telling all of this to Charlie. And so therefore Charlie is like looking at her differently, looking at this. In the meantime, we find out this secret that Aunt Vi has had. So Aunt Vi tells Nova, look, you have to really realize and to really think about it, because let's be honest with this. You really wasn't really interested in the land anyway. And so basically Aunt Vi says, I know you wasn't interested. So what's the deal? What's the 411? Why are you feeling the way you're feeling? And so we find out that um, we find out that Nova is having some second thoughts on her choice in life, because the father, Ernest, kept on asking, when am I going to get grandkids? And so she's caught up in her feelings and saying that the reason why she believed that her father has rewritten this will is because he did not agree with the way she basically was living. Now we understand and we found out that Nova is a free spirit person, and we also find out that Nova is also a bisexual woman. And we also find out that in her mind and how she sees how her father was basically treating her is because of her lifestyle and her choice of men. We're just seeing this. So we find out, in my case, I believe that everybody was thinking that Ernest is this two-shoe person, but then later on down the road, we find out that Ernest stepped out on Nova and Ralph Angel's mother. And so when Ralph Angel basically mother passed away, he did not find out that this happened until 10 years down the road. But Ernest figured that um, that Noble would basically make up the slack of Ralph Angel not really having uh, his mother. And so we go on and then we delve into, this I know my soul, basically, and we find out that Charlie basically goes and tries to have a legitimate, conscious conversation with Ralph Angel. She asks him all the pertinent questions as how are you going to take care of this farm? Where are you going to get the money? Can you run this farm without my assistant? And basically, um, Ralph H is saying, well, I could do this. Um, it'll, I'll figure it out. Well, Charlie is like, she's combative, but she's like combative to a business kind of point, because now remember, she has made all kinds of calculating deals in order to get this farm up. Now, in the previous um, episodes, we find that in order how uh, Davis was to come down is that she made a deal with the owner. She used Micah, saying that he was being combated, saying that he was doing all of this and doing all of this, knowing that the fact that Davis basically really do love his son, but she basically used him. And so we basically looking at the characteristics and why Charlie is basically uh, doing calculated moves, and how she has basically developed into the person that she is now, and the controlling person that she is now, is because of her mother. Now we realize that even though Charlie and Ernest did not have him personally, from what the writers are saying, that they really didn't really have a relationship. They had a relationship, and they didn't have a relationship. And so we look at the fact that the way Charlie is because of her mother. Her mother basically had to raise her accordingly so that she would be able to survive. Now, we have to understand that when it comes to boy children, we have this tendency of that we will um, raise the girl child and to make her self-sufficient, and to make her in a point where she can basically take care of her own and not really depend on anyone. So a lot of the characteristics Charlie is basically getting from her mother, because remember earlier Nova talked about her mother making her a control person. Now we also have the conversation where we see that Charlie is preparing to do a magazine interview. But we also know that along the way, Charlie had had a conversation with Davis, because Davis had came in early to really wish um, Charlie, success on her new life. But in the conversation, Charlie lets Davis know that, basically, I'm still going through with the divorce. I basically have told this reporter about what I'm about to do, and I have given the reporter exclusive rights. And the only reason why she did that is to basically stop the reporter from basically digging into the way or the things that went down with her. Me personally, I still feel that this reporter has some undertone some undertone issues. And we're going to really look at the relationship between Darla and Ralph Angel. Darla and Ralph Angel. Now, Ralph Angel has not grown up. Ralph Angel is all in his feelings. Ralph Angel is almost as thinking that he is an entitlement. This is his father left it to him, it's owed to. It's almost the way he's reacting is an entitlement. And I'm very, very upset with Ralph Angel right now. He's acting like a spoiled little black brat. And now we have to look at the relationship and how Ralph Angel and Dollar is beginning to go at it again. Now, in the early season, Ralph Angel couldn't stand or call her all kinds of names and everything. And so Ralph Angel wanted Dollar to be loyal to be loyal to him. And Dollar basically is saying, well, I'm loyal to you, but in my being loyal to you, I have basically put myself on the line where is that you know that I'm an addict and I know that I'm an addict, but I also know that I have to take care of myself. And if I don't take care of myself, who's going to take care of myself? Because Ralph Angel is not really, if we really look at this, Ralph Angel is not in a position to try to take care of anybody. He's barely taking care of Blue. And so when Dollar really made the decision, because previously we looked at there was a person that basically came to the mill and Remy was there. And Remy was trying to say, well, I know this person because this person wanted to come and have his cane grind at the Sugar Queen's mill. And Remy was trying to do that. Yeah, I know this person. I can vouch for this person. Well, this person is really, 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 really good at it. And so in the meantime, we see that Charlie had got off the phone with Remy and told him that, okay, we can have this, but he still have to do the proper procedures. He still have to fill out the paperwork. And so Charlie goes to Dollar and says, Dollar, look, I basically need you to go, go to the office and fill out this paperwork and everything. Would you go? And so that's when Ralph Ranger started getting into his feeling. Uh, he's getting on I don't want to use a word, but he's just getting on my nerves. And so this is where, I have an issue. But eventually what happened is that Dollar stood up, and I'm very proud. Dollar stood up, and she did go and prepare the paperwork. Um, loyalty. This is where I have an issue, especially with drug people or dope dealers or anyone, period, who to believe in like loyal. This is everything. To a point, loyal is to a point, but not to a point where it is going to jeopardize your life, your way of life. And some people would rather jump hoop to be loyal to an individual. I mean, and loyalness is a thin line. Now, while we're talking about loyalness, we see that Remy and Charlie has basically had a conversation. And the conversation went something like this. Remy told Charlie, like, I basically knew you before you knew me. It's because your father would always talk about you. And he would always talk about the achievements that you made. And the people would always say, well, Charlie was a very smart person. But then her father, Ernest, would say, well, was it being smart or was it thoughtfulness? And so while he made this conversation, he also informed Charlie that the reporter was basically there to do a story on Davis. And so Remy was kind of upset, and so he told um, um, Charlie about it. And then this is when Remy really lowered the boom on Charlie. And Remy said, well, in so many words, I'm wondering why your father would say it wasn't not being smart, but it was being thoughtfulness. And thoughtfulness is meaning it's like, are you really thoughtful of the people who are basically coming, or are you, in so many words, or are you using them to get to what it is that you need? And when he said that, she basically looked at him like, she said, I think you need to leave. Because what had happened, Remy basically had hit a red button. And you could see the expression on her. And she said, I think you need to leave. Because we really have to think about this. Charlie is a very manipulative, a very power hungry, a very precise person. And Remy was thinking like, well, I'm wondering how you're basically handling me. Now, I'm with Remy because if we go back to the previous episode, remember when Ralph Angel first decided that he wanted to try to, to do some soybeans, and he needed money. And so he wanted to go to the bank. But what had happened was that Charlie had went to the bank and made some changes at the bank and made it so that nobody could go in and draw no money off of nothing until they had like two signatures. And that second signature had to be Charlie. And when Ralph Angel, I'm bringing y'all back when, because I want y'all to realize this. When Ralph Angel went to Remy and to tell Remy about this, Remy was basically surprised at the fact that there was extra money for the farm for them to get the necessary equipment, but they couldn't get it not unless it was notified by the bank. And so Remy was surprised with that Charlie did not even let did not even let him know about that. Now, we dealt with the fact that Nova is all in her feelings. And we know that Nova found the deed and everything, and I talked about that previously. Now, before that, Nova was on the phone with Dr. Duvan, or Duvay, or whatever his name is. I'm going to call him Dr. Robert, making a second arrangement to go to Atlanta to get her groove on, because we basically see Nova packing her clothes and to get ready to roll out. Now, we go and we see that Charlie is basically getting ready to prepare herself for the interview. And the reporter comes in and puts his recorder down. And he begins to answer Charlie a question. And so Charlie is trying to be, say all the right words, all the right time. And the reporter said, well, how do you think, or what do you think, how your father would basically feel about what is about to transpire? How would he feel about it? And so Charlie was getting ready to try to say, well, my father would. And then you see the camera that really would go into the face, and it got even closer. And then it would say, well, my father would And then she basically looked, and she said that my father would really, Charlie couldn't really answer that question till she finally did answer the question. And she said, well, my father, I don't know. I really don't know. And I'm sure I probably basically did miss some things, but this is a couple of questions I want you all to think about. Um, how is this going to affect Blue? Will he trust his father due to the fact that two people have basically called his father a liar? And we understand that Dala has beginning to come into her own due to the fact that Ralph Angel is being real childish and cannot handle the farm because he has proven by all of his action that he cannot handle the farm, and that the fact that he's not quite ready is because of what he's doing. And the fact that Aunt Vi is the matriarch of the family, and she basically said that the land has somewhat been a curse. And how it's been a curse is because it has basically divided the family. And is it worth losing the family? Like the parole officer said, that land is just like money. And the fact that Ralph Angel has this mindset that, yes, he's been an incarcerated person, but he still is thinking like a person who's been locked up. This was a very good episode. The title of I Know My Soul was a very good episode. Um, we are getting ready to come into the mid-season. So because we're getting ready to have another great show. I would like to talk about DuVernay and Oprah. There are a lot of subliminal messages that DuVernay is using her platform to send a message. And there's several things I'm going to touch on them a little bit, but I want you guys to kind of sort of let me know. And as she's touched on a couple of things is generation wealth. How do we as African American handle generation wealth? How do we keep the family together without bringing animosity, without bringing hatred within a business? The fact that when it comes to um, legacy, we have to really look at the type of legacy that we leave our generation, and that we must learn not to go to our deathbed, and although a lot of us do go to our deathbed, um, basically holding on secrets. Um, the incarcerating part sends a message, says that incarceration is only a form of enslavery. How is a form of slavery? You cannot get a job. You cannot basically get an apartment. You cannot get credit. I mean, it's very hard for you to work for someone. But on that note, I went to say, this is Cheryl, All Things Cheryl, doing a preview of episode 7, season 2. I know my soul. A couple of things that I would basically like for you to do. 4 things. 1, share. 2, hit the subscribe button. 3, hit the notification button. And 4, hit the like. Until the next time, this is All Things Cheryl. Peace and love.